A member of the All Progressive Congress says only fraudulent politicians will be against direct primaries in 2023. Well, he says the provisions for direct primaries in the electoral bill is unsettling politicians who are enjoying the indirect process. Well, Jimbo wonders why some politicians would kick against direct primaries, which would enable all party members to make their choices on who to contest for particular offices. Well, President Muhammadu Buhari refused to give his assent to the bill because of the controversy over the direct primaries. And to give further clarification on his position, we're now being joined by Clement Jimbo. He is a member of the governing All Progressive Congress, the APC. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
And you know what? You know, the first question has to be, why do you think only fraudulent politicians are against the direct primaries?
That's very correct. Because the very essence and the definition of democracy, which Nigeria currently practices, is defined as the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So, if that definition is anything to go by, from the very grassroots, where the people actually decide, must be involved in who becomes the party flag bearer. And if the people are not involved, then it is no longer democracy. It is something else.
Right.
So it is only fraudulent politicians that will kick against direct primaries, which will favor the majority of the party members.
Right. But looking at the precedent right now, because that's the main reason he gave as to why he withheld his assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, which has a lot of fantastic, you know, other parts of that bill. He says it's costly, first of all, and he raised the issue of security. Since you're talking about, you know, fraudulent politicians, would you say the president is part of those who's also a fraudulent politician who's against it?
That is not what I mean. That is not what I'm saying. Now, let's look at the reason the president gave. Of course, the president has his right to assent or to decline assent based on his reasons. But it is also important for the generality of Nigerians to subject the reasons of Mr. President, whether it is logical, based on the current realities. Talking about cost, let us zero in on that. We have 8,809 electoral wards in Nigeria. What do we need to conduct direct primaries? We need INEC, right? We need the security, that's the police, the army, and whatever involved. We also need ad hoc staff. Now, for us to conduct direct primaries, INEC need to employ 8,809 ad hoc staff. If you place them on a minimum wage of 30,000 naira, that will going to be about 0.8 billion naira, not even up to a billion naira, 0.8 billion naira. What else do we need? In all the 774 local government areas in Nigeria, we have police offices, police stations with staff. Do we need to appropriate additional funds to engage our police officers to monitor direct primaries? The answer is no. Why are we paying the monthly salary? Do we need to also appropriate a different funds for INEC staff to conduct direct primaries? The answer is no.
Well,
why are they staff?
I will actually object to that, because these are special duties outside of their responsibility.
No, their terms of reference as being employed as police officers fall outside the duties
so let's not stay too much on this right now. You are a member of the ruling APC,
yes,
and of course your party actually has the majority in the National Assembly.
Agreed.
But if anything, from what we've seen, especially from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, is to go by, it seems like the direct primaries will be taking off that electoral bill.
The Speaker is just one person. We have members of the National Assembly.
Do you think you'll be able to get the simple majority to actually overturn that bill, to get the National Assembly to veto Mr. President's decision?
Do not forget that Section 58, subsection 5 empowers the National Assembly to override Mr. President. That is, to take majority of those present at plenary, not the entire members. So let us patiently wait for them.
Can the APC monster the 2/3 needed to veto Mr. President's decision? Is my question.
It is not impossible. Because the first thing we need to consider, why the direct primaries was brought into the electoral bill in the first place was because the lower house and the upper house agree that this should be the order of the day. And if Mr. President does not see eye to eye with them, the Constitution also empowers them to override Mr. President. Do not also forget the primary responsibility of the legislature is to make law and not Mr. President.
Right. But the Constitution also provides for Mr. President to give his assent before that piece of paper becomes law.
Of course.
So right now, we are in an impasse where Mr. President says, I am not going to sign this bill except certain provisions are taken out. And the National Assembly, let's not forget, we have elections coming up this year, 2022, as we look forward to 2023. So what would be your suggestion, to get out of this impasse? So that way, we get that all-important Electoral Act Amendment bill.
I will answer this question this way. A father that probably enjoys a good education will do everything possible to make sure his children equally enjoy even better education. Mr. President is the direct beneficiary of direct primaries. If not for direct primaries, Mr. President would not have become Mr. President today. So it is incumbent on Mr. President to also make sure that every other Nigerian enjoy what he has enjoyed, and that will make him a good father.
But at the end of the day, well, I've been told our time is up. Well, thank you so much for joining us, but we'll wait and see. But before I let you go, the APC, there's still a controversy about your convention. Do we have a date now?
Yes.
What's the date?
I'm told it's first week of next month.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the program.